Okay, good morning everyone. Welcome back to Friday Morning Fuel. I'm Coach Danny, rocking my apron today. I heart healthy fats. Really just hoping to get a TV deal from this. Alright, so this morning we're going to be making a very classic breakfast recipe, steel cut oats. So if you don't know what those look like, they are like they're not the whole oats, but they've been cut, steel cut oats, right? So just a little different texture, but I think like when some, at least I've encountered a lot of individuals who think like, oh, oatmeal's boring, like I don't like it, it's plain, it doesn't taste good, or they opt for the pre-packaged oatmeal options that oftentimes just contain a lot of sugar. So I want to show you how you can make your oatmeal taste good, a little upgrade to your oatmeal, add a little bit more flavor, a little more fun to your oatmeal. That way you look forward to it. And the great thing about oatmeal, like I said last week when we made the quinoa bowl, is that I really like the breakfast options that are more of like a clean slate, that you can mix up however you want. So with oatmeals, you can do like a sweet option or like a savory option, and the same thing with like quinoa bowls. So these are good like bases for your morning fuel. So you can kind of mix it up depending on what you want to have that morning, right? So you don't always have to have the same thing. So for our recipe this morning, so I've got some water heating on the stove. So for steel cut oats, it's like a 2-to-1 ratio for oats to water. So I'm going to be making a cup of oats, a little bit more than a cup, because I'm going to be making 2 servings this morning. And I apologize that the sun is like, for whatever reason, like glaring extra this morning. Apologize for that. So 1 cup to 3 cups water. I guess it's a little bit more than, I guess it's a 1-to-3 ratio. Sorry, my math was off. So if you're doing 1 cup of oats, 3 cups of water. So I've got the water heating on the stove. I'm going to turn it up just a little bit. So you want to bring that water to a boil first, and then you're going to add your oats and then bring it down to a simmer. So while I'm doing this, just want to give you all like a little confession. I've been feeling really exhausted this week, and I don't know why, but in talking with other individuals, I feel like it's like this collective thing. Like everyone's been feeling like really tired this week, low energy, just kind of like you're dragging. There's just not that like exciting New Year feel that there usually is. I don't know if anyone else can relate, but I've certainly been feeling that way. And if you've been feeling that way, just know you're not alone in feeling that way. But I want to talk to you all about what are some ways that we can increase our motivation and help us feel a little bit more energized as we go through our days, our weeks, and into this year, right? So I want to talk about reframing our mindset about what inspires us, what motivates us with making a personal statement. So I don't know if any of you have ever made like a personal motto. I don't know if any of you like mantras or like affirmations, kind of more of the headspace side of things, right? It's often the time that we push aside. We focus a lot on our physical well-being. You know, how much do I need to exercise? What do I need to eat? Am I drinking enough water? Or just other things in our life, like our financial wellness, like is our life organized? I'm gonna go ahead, add a cup of oats to my water. It's boiling. And I'm gonna let that simmer for a bit while we chat. I think, so if any of you did the Eat Well, Be Well program last year, we did what we call the Motivational Illuminator, and we're going to run you through that this morning, kind of a quick version of it, and I encourage you to do it with me if you'd like. It's pretty simple. It's not like it. Sometimes it requires a little bit more thought, but for some of you, it might be pretty quick of just like organizing your thoughts into words. So what you do is start with 3 words that are currently like really meaningful to you, and I'll give you all like my own example of things I'm working on to hopefully kind of spark some thought for you. For me, my 3 words that I've really been focusing on recently is recovery, mental space, we'll count that as 1 word, and then ease, right? I feel like lately I've just been like really tense about like a lot of things, and I think that there's a lot of factors influencing that, but what I'm really after is more recovery, mental ease, or mental space, and then just feeling more at ease overall, right? So you take your 3 words. So if you have like a pen and paper next to you or on your computer, you write down like 3 words that are currently like themes in your life right now, and make a short statement. So my statement is, I will add 2 recovery days to my week so I can create more mental space and move with more ease. So part of the ease is both like physical ease and not being like so sore or like stiff all the time, and also like mental, emotional ease. So important part of our training process is it's recovery, right? That's often the times often the thing we forget about. We like to work out, but we don't take the time to like stretch or have a recovery day of like foam rolling, mobility, soft tissue work, and it is really important to add that. So I myself am also personally working on adding some more recovery days to my week. So my little statement, my short vision statement is, I will add 2 recovery days to create more mental space and to move with ease. Okay, so that's my little short vision statement. So the next thing you want to look at are like the disadvantages and advantages of being or not being aligned with that vision statement. So here's an example. So if you think about the disadvantages of not being aligned, right? So that's what we don't want. We don't want to not be aligned with our vision statement. So a disadvantage of not being aligned would be experiencing burnout, right? So that would be a disadvantage of not adding those recovery days to my week, would be experiencing burnout on a regular basis. Okay, so when you think about those disadvantages of not being aligned, okay, then you think about the advantages of not being aligned. You know, it kind of sounds weird. It's like, well, what advantage is there of not being aligned? Well, sometimes there can be advantages. So for me, like, I would have more flexibility in my time, right? I wouldn't have to schedule those recovery days. I could just spend more time watching TV or reading or doing whatever, but not focusing on my goal. Having more flexibility in your day. If like your goal is to, if you're motivated to do strength training 2 days a week, for example, an advantage of not being aligned is, well, you don't need to make time for that, right? You'd have more flexibility with your time. So I want you to think about disadvantage of not being aligned and then the advantages of being aligned with that vision statement. And then we're going to look at the disadvantages of being aligned, which also sounds kind of weird, of like, well, what disadvantage is there to meeting your goal, right? So, I mean, a disadvantage would be kind of like the opposite of what I said before, of like having that flexibility is, you wouldn't have as much flexibility. So if you are wanting to work out or do strength training twice a week, but like you have kids, the only time that you can really do that is early in the morning. So a disadvantage of being aligned with your vision statement might mean you have to get up early, right? So that's a disadvantage, especially if you're not a morning person. And of course, these are all going to be very different for each of us, depending on, our personal preferences and what our vision statement is. And then lastly, the advantages of being aligned. So what benefit is there to your life of being aligned with that vision statement? So for me, adding 2 recovery days means improved lymphatic flow. So that means less inflammation, better immune function, less stiffness when I wake up in the mornings, and having that mental space. So there's a lot of advantages to being aligned with that vision statement. Okay, so we've looked at kind of 4 different categories, and you can kind of make like a little quadrant. That's usually easier. So you think about like disadvantages of not being aligned, advantages of not being aligned, then your disadvantages of being aligned, and your advantages of being aligned. So disadvantages and advantages of both not being aligned and being aligned with your vision statement. Okay. If anyone's confused, send me a message. I'm more than happy to like help you work through this. We could do like a quick 15-20 minute call if you'd like. I'm happy to help you all work through your own personal vision statements. And just remember, none of these have to necessarily be wellness related. That's just something I'm personally working on. Something else that Matt and I are working on is building our emergency fund, or like fully funding our emergency fund. So we also have like financial goals for this year. So just remember, it doesn't have to be like fitness or physical wellness. It can be more like mental wellness, or like financial wellness, or just anything that you're working on right now. Okay. So then what I want you to do after you've thought about all of those advantages and disadvantages is to think about, or shorten it into like this 5-word statement. So we shorten that vision statement into 5 short words. I'm gonna be like 5 or 6, but just a little mantra that you can like, remember on a regular basis, or you can write it down or put it somewhere you can see it every day. So my original vision statement, for those of you who kind of joined in a little bit later, is I will add 2 recovery days to my week so I can create mental space and move with ease, right? So my 3 things I'm really focusing on is recovery, mental space, and ease, like being more at ease, right? And so I'm going to shorten that down into recover for space and ease. So I've shortened it down to those 5 words. So I want to recover so I can have more space in my head, which will translate to feeling like I have more space in my life overall. And then moving with ease and being at ease. So physically being at ease, and then mentally, emotionally being at ease as well. So overall, just trying to kind of not be so tense and burnt out all the time. I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but that's a little personal sharing for you this morning. So I've shortened my vision statement: recover for space and ease. Okay, so just something I wanted to share with you all to help you maybe kickstart your motivation a little bit, because I know a lot of us are feeling unmotivated and burnt out the beginning of this year. Last year was a lot. The beginning of this year has been a lot, and there's just not that like same excitement that we normally have at the beginning of the year. So just something to share and try if you'd like. And if you want to share your vision statement, sometimes it helps to share with someone else to help hold you a little bit more accountable to that, and that way we can support you. So if you want to share with me or one of our other exercise coaches, please feel free to do that. And if you all want like a worksheet for it, let me know. I can like send you a PDF worksheet of it. Okay. Oh, hey Brandy, she's on Instagram. Hello. All right, so that's my health coaching tip for the day. A little activity for you all. Okay, so my oatmeal is almost done. So we are making steel cut oats. And again, for those of you that might have joined a little bit later, want to show you all how to make like a very boring breakfast item, oatmeal, into something a little bit more exciting for you. Okay, so we're making our oatmeal. It's almost done. Taking a little bit longer than I thought. So steel cut oats, side note, take a little bit longer than like your whole oats. And I also wanted to share this other recipe with you all. So if you all that looked at the PDF when I sent it out yesterday, there's optional toppings was either fresh berries or like a berry compote, which I hope I'm pronouncing that right, compote, which is like a homemade jam. So I actually made this this morning. What I did was I took a cup of berries and then I added a 1/4 cup of like a fruit juice. I used pomegranate juice because that's just what we had in the fridge. And then I started to heat it on the stove and just let the juice and the fruit heat up, and then I just started to mash up the fruit, and I created this little bit of jam, and I added some chia seeds in there as well to help thicken it a little bit. So that is a great alternative to jelly, so that you can add that to whatever you'd like, your oatmeal in the mornings. All right. Okay, so I feel like I might have added too much water to my oats. So I'm going to go ahead, turn this down a little bit, and I'm going to drain the pot a little bit. So give me just a second. Okay, that's better. So you all know I'm not a professional in the kitchen. Sometimes I'm doing some of the stuff for the first time with you all. So if anyone thoughts on making a big batch of this and then freezing into individual portions and microwave in the mornings, right? Yes, so great thing about oatmeal all oatmeal in general, is that they keep for several days. So even if you freeze it, like making a big batch and freeze it, and then just heating it up in the morning, that's a great idea. I highly recommend that if you feel like you're short time in the mornings. They do keep for several days, so even if you like make a big batch, you can leave a couple servings in the refrigerator for like 3 or 4 days. And that way you have some oatmeal that's ready to go. All right, so our oatmeal is ready, so let's add the fun stuff. I'm going to add in a tablespoon of maple syrup. Someone had asked me if you can do honey. Absolutely. You could do agave syrup, maple syrup, whatever you like. I'm doubling this recipe because I'm making 2 servings. So I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. Side note, maple syrup is actually more hydrating than your other sugar options. So something to think about when you're sweetening things. Maybe opt for a maple syrup option. I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons of chia seeds. I'm going to mix that up. And a little bit of cinnamon, my favorite. Okay, so I'm going to mix all that up in our pot. Okay, so for those of you that are new and maybe didn't do Friday Morning Fuel last year, we talked a lot about our 4 pillars of nutrition. So if you can name them really fast, you win for the day. Our 4 pillars of nutrition are fuel, build, protect, and prevent. So our fuel is our carbohydrates, our build is our protein sources, our protect is our healthy fats, and then our prevent is our fruits and veggies, right? So we've got all 4 this morning. Before I forget, I'm going to add in just a scoop of vanilla protein, and oatmeal in itself, along with like chia seeds or nuts, if you do a nut butter, you'll get plenty of protein in your morning bowl of oatmeal. But if you want to just add in a little extra, you can do a protein powder with any flavor you'd like. Get creative. Or you can do a collagen blend, so a collagen powder, which is just, you know, a broken down version of amino acids. And those are typically flavorless. You can find flavored collagen, but a lot of options are flavorless if you don't like that, like the vanilla or chocolate flavor of protein. Okay, let me find a bowl. Alright, so I'm going to do a cup of cooked oatmeal. You all know that it expands when you cook it. Alright, so I have my bowl of steel cut oats. It's kind of steaming a little bit. And you have the option of adding just a little bit more milk if you like it a little bit more on the creamier side. I hit my cabinet there. I don't know if you all heard that. Whoops. So I'm going to mix in just a little bit of coconut milk. Okay, so before I forget, our 4 pillars of nutrition, that's what I was talking about. So our oats are our fuel, added a little bit of extra protein for that build, and our chia seeds that are both in the oatmeal and the berry compote will serve as our healthy omega-3 fatty acids, and as well as just a little bit of coconut milk. And I'm also going to top it with just a little bit of almond butter on there. Okay, so time for the toppings, time for the fun part. So I'm going to add in a few slices of banana. Just a reminder that half banana is a serving size of banana. I'm going to add in all the berries on top. The great thing about this berry compote is that it is sweet, but not like overly sweet. So for those of you that don't have a very big sweet tooth, this is a great option for you. And then we will add in a little bit of almond butter. We're like at the bottom of our jar, so you know how it's a little bit drier at the bottom, so I'll have to scoop it out. I'm just going to do a small tablespoon. And there we have it. Our more fun version of our morning breakfast. So our Friday morning fuel is ready. Steel cut oats, a little bit of berry compote, almond butter, bananas. Highly recommend you try that. That is good. Very creamy oats, and doesn't take a long time. I know I was talking for a long time, but the prep doesn't really take a long time. And as someone recommended, someone asked, you can batch cook this to have like some ready to go in the mornings, and you can just add in your toppings. Get creative, make it your own, make it about you, as I always say, and enjoy your Friday morning fuel today and every day. All right.